Hi everyone, a very warm welcome from Hayford to you all. We have people from India, Nigeria, Kenya, Afghanistan, and there are a lot of registration, a lot of interest we have received for this webinar, and we'll be having more people joining with us. But we should start now. I would start with briefly introducing what Hayford is, and then we can go through the subject of this webinar. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking out the time. And we are very glad that you could join today and we can exchange insights at the end of the session with you on this topic. With the new edition 7 launched by ACAMS, we have this session to highlight what are the changes, what are the newly introduced regulations that have come now. The financial crime landscape is constantly evolving, and so is the gold standard in AML certification. It is important to keep pace with the changing regulations. Before we start, I would like to briefly introduce about Hayford. We are a premier training institute in the region with global presence. Hayford is a legacy of over 3 decades of excellence in consulting. The courses are delivered by our team of highly experienced trainers and knowledge leaders having extensive practical experience as strategic partners and C suite executives for corporates. As you already know, ACAMS is one of the most widely accepted AML certification in banking, financial services, fintech, and regulatory sectors. It demonstrates a strong understanding of international AML CTF standards, including FATF recommendations, EU directives, and others. It is preferable to have this for roles such as AML compliance officer, financial crime investigator, KYC EDD analyst, sanction screenings analyst, risk and compliance consultants, legal advisors, and consultants. Today we have with us Mr. Mohammad Rizwan Khan, who is a seasoned AML and compliance expert with over 2 decades of experience in anti-money laundering and financial crime prevention. As the Chief Business Officer of AJMS Global and Global Compliance Head, he brings extensive expertise in independent money laundering reviews, regulatory strategy, and financial crime investigation. Rizwan is a certified CAMS FCI, CFCS, and ICA professional and has contributed globally through his keynote speeches, panel discussion, and thought leadership articles. He is widely recognized for his commitment to fostering a culture of compliance and advancing industry standards across the UAE and beyond. We are very happy to have Rizwan with us, and of course, and we are very thankful to having a great audience of I think more than 50 participants today, and we have people who are joining us in some time. So Rizwan, over to you now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sheetal. And first of all, this very detailed introduction, especially for the Hayford perspective and also for the AJMS perspective you gave. Yes, definitely we are conducting a lot of courses. And yes, this is a platform where we are providing an opportunity for the all of our audience that how they can join us and they can enhance their career growth because we provide the opportunity in the sense to the industry that which is more fittest that education will provide which is more fittest for the industry perspective. So what they are studying they will able to apply into the industry. This is our objective. So we are a little bit different from the conventional methodology which is done like into the past, but we have different tactics. Like our objective is that we need to align our audience with the recent industry. What are the new expectations from the industry, how they can equip themselves. So this is our like major objective of all about this, like what we are trying to provide from the A4 platform. And now it's not only study, it's not only education, it's also this that yes, we want like flourish career of our all audience that or all participants that they can get some good jobs, they can establish their careers, lot of careers. Therefore, we mostly talk about the recent industry, what the industry is looking forward from them. And today's topic, as you rightly said, that today we are going to discuss like little bit new advancement has come into the financial crime. And obviously, when we are talking about the certified anti-money laundering specialist certifications, like all through the world, it is now a little bit converting into the financial crime compliance. So today we are giving a complete overview of that what the new changes are coming and like how we need to opt those changes and like how it is best fitted for the industry expectations. So one by one, I will go through the complete all topics. So therefore, this webinar is very much important. I will say every person needs to stick with us until the end because I will like oversight like all the areas which are very much important from the examination perspective. So as we conduct the preparatory classes for the CAMS, so therefore, like it can support to the all of the audience, those who are right now listening me, it will support them how they can establish themselves, how they can prepare themselves more for the CAMS. And obviously, after the CAMS, maybe they will work into the regulatory agencies, regulatory authorities. So that will also help them that what is the regulatory perspectives and what are the law enforcement things nowadays, how the international standards evolve. So this we will discuss like in details today. So let me start this thing, Cheetal. Thank you first of all. Like you yourself is a wonderful leader for the AJMS Global. So that is like honestly, like it's a great privilege for us to work with you. And now, like understanding the risk and the methods of financial crime. So I'm starting as a CAMS course. I'm starting from the beginning. So those who are very new into this course, just be prepared. I'm going from the scratch, and then I will go till the end. I will connect all these points together. So understanding the risk and methods of money laundering, actually now it's the financial crime. Earlier it was the money laundering related. So as I told you, the course is now a little bit more emphasizing, more reflecting toward the financial crimes perspective. And by the way, I am also financial crime specialist. I have done my like financial crime specialist course like 9 years or 10 years before. And I have also done post graduation into the financial crime compliance from the International Compliance Association. So therefore, yes, I was also very eager that new things should come also into the scams platform, which we can also share our knowledge towards the financial crime perspective, because mostly we're talking about the AML, and now like little bit change has come. So we are also happy that at least now we have something new to give you the trainings from this platform. So new innovations are coming. So topic is starting from the understanding the risk and methods of financial crimes. And if you see, like, first of all, like the introduction into this chapter will start from the money laundering and the financial crime. And they will like segregate like these two. What is the money laundering? Obviously, legitimate money is coming into the system, which the launderer wants to legitimize, like through disguising its illicit origin or trying to conceal it. And same like this, like financial crime mostly are linked with the predicate offense, which we say associated crime, in which you have like corruption, bribery, extortion, ransom, price manipulation. So there are around 21 to 22 like predicate offense, which are directly linked with the money laundering. So we will discuss like how the financial crimes are connected with the money laundering. And then obviously in this first like chapter, they are also like some case studies you will also study into this, like especially for the suspicious transaction, like and like related to the unusual behavior of the transactions. So we will try to understand that how you can detect like and you can identify and detect like there is something suspicion. So that idea will give. And then we are coming towards the money laundering. As I told you, that money laundering is a subset of the all financial crimes. So first financial crimes occur, then money laundering come into the existence. And if you see in UAE, we have also the challenge of the money laundering into the medium high risk, into the national risk assessment guidelines. So therefore, we need to put a lot of efforts to mitigate that risk and to to protect our country from the any sort of illicit harm. So that should be our objective. And therefore, if you see right now, market is more emphasized toward this. The compliance professionals are required everywhere. They want to opt this thing that the compliance should be proper, stringent, and robust compliance. And then obviously, money laundering, we will discuss the definition. We will discuss about like the three stages of money laundering: placement, layering, and integration, and the common techniques for the money laundering, like how mostly like common techniques which is used to do the launder the money. So we'll discuss those. What are those techniques? Right now, if you see, there is a trend that mostly we talk about the new trends and typologies. So recently, I got one meeting with one of the international intelligence unit, and then like we're discussing what are the new trends are coming into the industry, and how we can deter and how we can mitigate those risks. So therefore, intelligence units also wants to understand which key areas nowadays new trends are coming into the money laundering and terrorist financing, proliferation financing, what new techniques launderers are or terrorist offenders are opting which can hit to the financial system. So therefore, we need to understand those typologies and those techniques. So types of financial crime, as I told you, like predicate offense. So our beginning is coming from the predicate offense, and it is connected with the money laundering. As I told you, the financial crimes are happening all over the world, and a lot of money is like stolen by the financial criminals. And how it is connected with the money laundering. So that we will try to establish into this area. And then like key areas, if we think financial crimes type, so obviously sanctions is a big risk nowadays, and sanction evaders, especially into the proliferation financing, which is right now is a very recent issue. So in that perspective, like how the sanction evaders, they are uh, doing, they are adopting different techniques to evade the sanctions, like how shipments which are going, which have the risk of indirect connectivity with those countries which are under comprehensive sanctions or some sort of sectoral sanctions. So how you can gauge that risk into the sanctions perspective. So that we will learn into it, and different types of the sanctions also we will little bit discuss in our course, like targeted sanctions, uh, comprehensive sanctions, like financial and economic sanctions. And meanwhile, yes, obviously, like if you see onto the other micro level scale, so unilateral sanction we will discuss, and multilateral sanctions. So there are different key areas of the sanctions we will discuss. And then bribery and corruption. So as I told you earlier, before this, the CAMS was only more focused toward the money laundering and the terrorism financing. But now they have broadened the scope of this course, and they have also incorporated like bribery and corruption. Because bribery and corruption is the most biggest challenge all over the world. And if you see there are a lot of countries which have a very high, they are developed country, but they have a very high level of corruption also. So therefore, keep watching, keep reviewing the website. I can recommend you Transparency International, which can support you. That what is the corruption level of which country, and what was the reason, what are the key factors of those, and why there's so much poverty, why there's no proper dissemination of the wealth. So rich are becoming more rich and poor are becoming more poor due to this corruption. And then bribery also. Like we discussed in bribery, like active bribe, passive bribe. So who is offering the bribe, he's also get benefited. Who is receiving bribe also get benefited. So how we can detect the bribe? What are the thresholds we need to allocate in our systems? Then tax avoidance and versus the tax evasion we will go, and fraud. Fraud is also becoming a very important topic nowadays because fraud risk assessment regulator wants that we need to incorporate the fraud risk assessment into our systems. So obviously we have the capability from where we can detect the frauds. And obviously identification and detection is a one part, but on the other part, how we can mitigate it. So that is also required nowadays. So compliance officer, those are successful, those who can like not only identify the problem, but the issue is this, that to how to resolve those problems. Then like cyber-enabled crime. So cyber crimes, nowadays there are a lot of techniques which the cyber criminals are opting, and we need to be very much strong into the compliance and our controls, like where we can detect the risk of the cyber criminals, like maybe through phishing, spear phishing, spoofing, malware, ransomware, like social engineering. So there are a lot of different techniques which used into the cyber-enabled crimes, and how these are connected with the money laundering. We will study into this. Some of the examples like related to the predicate offense, we will go through like human trafficking, human smuggling, environmental crime. Everywhere, all over the world right now, there is a one concern: ESG, environment, social, and governance, with AML, anti-money laundering. So you need to connect these two together. How like environment can impact with the money laundering, how social can impact through the money laundering, how governance can impact through the money laundering. So you need to connect because this is a new subject. It's coming in front of you. And therefore we need to prepare ourselves for that. Then drug trafficking. All over the world, like drug trafficking is the biggest crime in the world because why? It takes the human lives. And to mitigate this risk, obviously, we need to understand the geographical risk also, where the drug trafficking is very common in those countries. So if like we are onboarding the client from those countries which are very much prone towards the drug trafficking, so how we can mitigate that risk. Then terrorism financing, you see like terrorism financing also like after 9/11 till now, like terrorism financing is a big concern. And we need to understand like how our financial system can be abused by the terrorist offenders. Let's suppose like sometime self-funding, terrorists fund themselves by their own, or maybe sometimes they use media campaigns, or sometimes they use use like new technologies nowadays like cryptos, like they use like this digital platform fintech they use for the terrorism funding. And then obviously we will try to understand like how the terrorists move and store funds, because terrorists needs money for their living, their transportation, to buying their ammunition. This is like what they are looking for. Then we are coming towards the consequences of the financial crime. If there will be the financial crimes are prevailing, so how it can impact to the country, how it can impact to the institutions. So that we will try to understand this topic, like consequences of the financial crimes, social consequences of the financial crimes. And then there's accountability is required, accountability each and everyone. So now the concept of the world is totally changed. Earlier it was like this, that someone like we can say that only we put onto the corporate, that the corporate company is responsible, but it's not like this. Every individual, not only compliance officer, we cannot put the whole like burden onto the compliance officer. Other employees are also responsible for it. And if you see like in all over the world, there are a lot of law enforcement actions taken for the even individual account, individual employees also, because sometimes they become willful blind. Sometimes they did not support into the AMS CFT implementation. Sometimes there was a like illegitimate recording of the records, wrong reporting. Don't do any wrong reporting. It can hurt, it can harm to your organization. Then obviously individual impact of the violation of the AFC, anti-financial crime regulations. So new word came this time, AFC, they are talking anti-financial crime regulations are there. And obviously like financial crime risk into the other types of risk is there, financial crime risk. And four risks like they have mentioned here, like operational, legal, concentration, and reputational. Even like there's also one question comes into the CAMS exam. What are the key four types of the risk? So in which they will give you the choice of the operational, legal, and concentration and reputational risk. So you need to understand like how your operation can be impacted due to the financial crimes, how your legal can be impacted. Legal means something coming from the court or from some like legal affairs it is coming to you. That maybe some, or you can say like some law enforcement actions also, but into the legal domain. So then obviously it will be considered as legal risk. Concentration risk also, like when you are giving a lot of exposure to one or multiple account holders. Or reputational risk, obviously reputation damage if there's a risk of financial crime, like bank or the company is known for the money laundering. So obviously like the investor will be hesitant, client will be hesitant to invest into those institutions. So those risks, like, so we study in the sense that we can connect our study with the industry, as I'm telling you, because we don't want that only we need to pass the exam. We want pass the exam, and also we want to become more fittest according to the industry needs, because we want that all of our participants should be more stronger for the industry perspective, because they will become the leaders. We are building leaders from here, this platform. So then money laundering risk into the financial institution. So introduction, we will go through sector-wise case studies are also there, and the corporate banking role, financial crime risk, some like how the participant or student needs to be familiar about the financial crimes. Then money laundering risk, obviously associated with the banking. And when we go to the banking, we'll go in more detail, like what should be the protocols we need to implement into the banking structures, and the shell companies and shelf companies. Two companies they are talking, shell and shelf. So shell companies, which is not having any office, which is not having any employee, which not come under any banking authority visit. And the shelf company mean like which is established like 5-6 years before, because the launderers actually established this type of company because they can use this company further in future for their illicit purposes. So therefore they establish a company, so which into the past, because they want to get the aging advantage of that company, that this was established like 6 years before, and Mr. A, B, C were the owners of this. So it will give more confidence to the bankers. Oh, this company is old. It's mean like they are already like adhering with the all legal laws and the regulations. So it gives comfort rather than that company, which is like today you have established. You go to the bank and you say like, I've established this company. So bankers will also be reluctant. He needs to go through with the complete, like to understand how the capital is injected into this, and he will go like this. So therefore, like what the launderers do, like they establish the shelf companies and they keep buying and selling too. So therefore, like shelf companies obviously sell at a very higher price also. So then like political exposed person, PEP. So earlier, like political exposed person into the CAMS course, we were more focused toward the EU directive. EU directive guideline that after leaving the public office, like 12 months, the PEP will not be considered as an PEP. But this time they have highlighted, they are saying that they are coming from the US perspective approach that once the PEP is always a PEP. So they are saying that, yes, this is also very common practice into the industry, that the companies are also following once a PEP is always a PEP. So that we'll discuss also detail that what is like international PEP, domestic PEP, and also like foreign PEP. So three types of the PEP we will discuss into this. And then like control and ownership of the email program, that is very important topic. Why? Because in compliance, the most important part to understand the money trail and everything, we need to understand the UBO, ultimate beneficial owners. UBO, to identify to the UBOs, is the most important task of the compliance team, who should get to know that who will be finally get benefited. Because like structure are complex. Legal person, when we talk about the firm, so in that, like there are so many complex structures. Obviously, like this, like they have added new, like they have money, they are talking about the money laundering risk associated with the retail and commercial banking. So they have segregated the retail banking and commercial banking also. And in which they are talking about the trade finance. By the way, I tell you one thing very clearly. If you are thinking about the trade finance, and obviously in our country, we have a lot of banks which are dealing into the trade finance. And they have actually applied the controls. Same like this, your requirement is also in that industry. So therefore, what we will teach you into this course, that what are the mandatory documents which like if you are working in trade finance, you need to maintain into the compliance perspective. How you will understand the letter of credit, which document should be there, how you will navigate the risk of sanctions into the trade finance. So we'll discuss that into the more detail into this program. Then like credit unions and building societies risk. Obviously, this mostly into the United States if you go, or in UK or Canada. So you will find like there are a lot of credit unions, and which are like they are working on to the same model which the banks are working, but they're small in size. Mostly like little bit cash intensive, which is like 4 or 5 people. They are the member of this credit union. They established this credit union. It's a very interesting topic, by the way, nowadays. And how it is connected with the industry. Yes, so that we will discuss how MSBs can exploit to the credit unions. Then private banking and wealth management risk. So in which like private banking, as I told you, high net worth individuals comes, and wealth management is important point. And wealth management, how the wealth is managed, and what are the key risks are coming from the wealth management perspective. Trust risk, like what is the role of the settlor, trustee, nominee, beneficiary. Then we will discuss about the offshore centers and offshore center, which are also prone towards the money laundering and financial crimes also, because lack of regulatory oversights, lack of like minimum like strong and stringent laws and regulations there. So therefore, like how like offshore centers are like exploited by the money launderers. Then we will discuss obviously like a special purpose vehicle risk also. So corporate and investment banking risk we will discuss into this chapter, and in which wire transfer risk, fundraising risk, merger and acquisition. So when the merger happened, so sometime I was seeing this thing that a lot of people get confused that when the merger and acquisition is happening, so what is our responsibility as a compliance officer? Do we ascertain the risk at that time prior to this merger and acquisition, that where we are going for the JVC, like this partnership. So in that, like how we are evaluating the risk of our counterparty. So high risk corporate and investment banking products also, and corporate banking risk. Correspondent, like right now it's a very sensitive area. Why it is sensitive? Because after 9/11, US put a lot of controls toward this side because they don't want that their banks should be misused due to the terrorism funding or the proliferation financing. And obviously, they are not allowing to any country or any bank that they can misuse them. So therefore, they have the extraterritoriality where they will find out their banks are misused. So then they will intervene. So money laundering risk into the non-banking financial institution. We will discuss non-banking also, like we will discuss. And like little bit, we will discuss about the MSP, money service businesses, payment service provider. PSP right now is a very potential business also, but meanwhile, it is having also a lot of challenges towards the money laundering. So how we can identify those risks from the PSP perspective. You need to familiar with yourself. What is the PSP environment? How you will go for the digital onboarding, and then how you will apply or implement the chain analysis, and in front of it how you are going to abstract the any risk of money laundering. So it means it's an incorporation of one thing in which chain analysis you are reviewing the all transactions, how the transaction are originated, and on the other side you are also conducting its compliance. So it's a basically combination of two software. One is chain analysis and maybe one is your AMS CFT compliance automated tool, how you can connect it together. So therefore what we are providing here, through our this CAMS course, we provide the real-time demos to our students that they can watch, because we have this all infrastructure. We provide services to the PSPs, payment service provider. So therefore, we understand what are the key requirements there. So we will bring you into the demo structure. You can see that how this PSP works and what the auto AML compliance software, AML compliance tool will be incorporated into that system. Then e-commerce and e-commerce risk, we need to understand also. So that's also a new topic came. Earlier it was not there into the book, but they have added this one also. And obviously e-commerce is also very detailed. It's a very small session. So therefore I cannot go in each and every part too much detail. Otherwise it will keep sitting. Insurance products as well. Insurance was earlier there. Security broker was also there into the previous editions, but asset manager, how the assets can be managed and what are the risk of the frauds related to the asset management, risk of money laundering. So that is the new part into this course. Custodial services risk also, that also little bit it was covered into the previous. So now crypto and the fintechs, as I told you, this edition is little bit advanced and it is more coming towards the integrated technologies also, which are right now prevailing when we talk about the fintech or we talk about the RegTech. So accordingly, they have incorporated these technologies into this book also. So crypto industry ecosystem. So what we need to understand from the crypto perspective, what is the importance of the wallets, how the cryptos are maintained into the wallets, what are the stable coins, what are the non-fungible tokens. So we will discuss that in too much detail and we will try to identify what is the risk of the crypto. Because right now we follow the VARA, Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority, because that's a government authority and which is already regulated, maybe 18 or 19 exchange houses, they have issued the licenses. Same this regulator is also issuing planned to issue the license for the digital exchange category 4. So So environment is changing in our region. So we need to update ourselves. And especially for that, this course will help you out now. Because what we will study, we will make you the implementation in front of you. And then you will be fittest into the industry. So then there's a money laundering risk in DNFBP, designated non-financial business professionals when we talk about. So in this, we talk about the real estate risk, we talk about the like gatekeepers, like accountancy, like auditor risk, like TCSPs, like trust company and service providers also. So like high risk business sectors, if we see, so there are the high value asset risk are also there, like suspicious transactions, like related, because there are some case studies into this course. And you need to understand like what are the key high value assets risk. So they are giving some new case studies, real-time case studies. Obviously in the CAMS book, mostly case studies are the real-time case studies. Then import export like under invoicing, over invoicing, trade price manipulation analysis, and different type of the shipping, like in we talk about the phantom shipping, ghost shipping. So that we will cover into that area. Then alternative remittance system like Hawala or like uh, Hundi and Chip Chop. Like there are a lot of like informal value transfer systems. We will discuss like how the money laundering happens, financial crimes happen through them, and what are their vulnerabilities. So in our exam point of view or the CAMS perspective, what we need to understand that what is the key vulnerability towards the money laundering, because you are becoming after CAMS certified anti-money laundering specialist. So therefore you need to understand each and everything which is more vulnerable towards the money laundering perspective. So forget about like operations, forget about business, forget about HR, forget about any other thing. Think only in one sense that in money laundering perspective, I need to see this question, where the vulnerability is becoming more higher. Then obviously charities and NGOs, as I told you, like these are mostly used for the terrorist funding also, and military organization and good risk. You know, like right now we also follow EOCN guidelines, like Executive Office for Non-Proliferations. Executive Office for Non-Proliferation. I'm missing like so EOCN like office like guideline follow in which like dual usage of goods is concerned. Like we said, the dual usage of goods. So military items, those items like which are used into the military also, and same time they are also used into the industry. And then obviously we will discuss in more detail like related to the related which items we need to take the certificates like that we can do the business, and how we will ensure this thing that it is not connected with any sort of weapon of mass destruction. It is not related to any sort of like terrorism. So that we need to evaluate through this, like when we are citing the military organization and we are calculating its risk. Then like providing financial services to embassies, embassies, foreign consulates. First, try to understand that difference. What is a consulate? What is embassy? And how it can be exploited by the money launderers also as well. So drug related businesses also. Then like global anti-financial crime framework when we talk about, so governance and regulation. So now we came toward earlier it was known as international standards. Now they are talking about the global anti-financial crime framework, governance and regulation. So they are starting from the governance like board, management, committees, regulations, governance. So in this, like obviously fact of international intergovernmental body, and In the FATF, we will discuss about the FATF regional bodies, which we say FSRBs. So there are 9 bodies almost there, like FSRB, and we are in the MENA region. There are Asia Pacific, Eurasian Group, ESA, AJML, and there are GAIBA is also there in West Africa. Eurasian Group is also there in like Russia, like Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. So like there are different bodies, so which are known as style regional bodies. So FATF is a intergovernmental body which is having which mission is objective is to spread the message, AML message, to worldwide. And obviously they want to ensure this thing that all FATF recommendations are properly implemented or not. And one of the objective of the FATF is also this, that they want to ensure this thing, that what are the new trends are coming, new trends and typologies. So 3 objectives are there of the FATF, which also one question comes into the exam like related to it also. But in detail, we will go FATF recommendation 1 to 8, like 9 to 23, which is like related to the mostly general preventive measure for the financial and non-financial institution. Then we discuss about the UPO's transparency, 23 to 24, and then 26 to 35, like related to the powers and responsibilities of the competent authorities. And then obviously international cooperation from 36 to 40 we'll discuss. But yes, obviously FATF 11 immediate outcome, IOS, immediate outcomes. So there are 11 points. How the means, methods, manners are used for the money laundering and the terrorism financing. So that we will discuss, and how it is important this to oversight this all 11 immediate outcomes, and how it connected with your national risk assessment, and how it is connected with the mutual evaluation of the FATF. We will discuss in detail. Then anti-financial crime guidelines from the leading international organization. So little bit they have added more in comparison to the past editions, in which they are talking about the obviously United Nations. United Nations was earlier there. But UNSCR, obviously they are talking about the United Nations Security Council also. And in that World Bank and IMF already there into the previous also. OECD they have added nowadays. And I will say those who are not the member of the OECD, they can take the membership, because OECD also conducting a very lot of valuable e-learning platform they are providing. Basel Committee also, there's a Basel Index you need to follow when you are evaluating the country's risk. Egmont Group, like it was earlier into the past also, same, it is also there now. And international, this is like a new addition. Wurzburg was already there, but the International Organization of Security Commission, like this IOSCO, is a very important part, because this I studied in UK, especially when I was doing a one course related, which was from the CISI for combating financial crime and the global financial compliance. So that course when I was doing, so I studied this in detail. And then later on in ICA, when I was doing financial crime compliance, like advanced level diploma from ICA, so then I studied this also. So it's a very important international organization. Please go through with it. And then G20 anti-corruption working groups, also Transparency International, we have discussed Basel Institute and the tax also. Then US AML framework is important. Try to understand one thing. This exam basically established from the CAMS organization. And obviously United States, there are some acts, there are some laws, there are some regulations. So therefore, this exams becomes more important, that we have a more stronger grip toward the US AMS CFT regulatory landscape. And obviously, US impact all over the world toward the global economies. So therefore, it's become important for us as a compliance professional. I'm talking very practical today into this session. So therefore, US Patriot Act, US Patriot Act, like after 9/11 in October it came. And its objective was providing appropriate tool required to intercept and obstruct the terrorism, because US became the victim of the terrorism at that point of time. Then recently they have introduced 4 or 5 years before, like Anti-Money Laundering Act, like 2020. And now they have added this new topic like Financial Crime Enforcement Network, FinCEN. So that is like enforcement network. You need to go through in detail how the FinCEN works, how they investigate, how they receive information, how they analyze information, how they disseminate information. So therefore, it's a very important topic, FinCEN. And the other US regulatory authorities, like we will discuss about the DFS, the Department of Financial Services, New York, so like, and different others, like, and lastly, like we will discuss about the Office of Foreign Asset Control, as OFAC, which is US Treasury Office, like which impose sanctions. And we will look toward the global regime. So right now, many US sanctions which are imposed on Iran is coming from the OFAC. So then EU AML regulatory landscape we will go through, like in Europe, EU AML packages, the role of AML authority, markets in the crypto assets regulation. So EU is running their all regulatory landscape parallel to the United States. So today I was reviewing the tariff list of the United States. So I was saying like where the EU is standing. So there's a list, like recently the list is issued today, and you can see that list from the Reuters. If you follow those newspapers like Reuters or Telegraph, they publish there. So that's very valuable as a compliance professional for us. Then like the role of the AML authority and the markets into the crypto regulations. So new regulations are coming, especially into the crypto assets. We'll discuss that also in detail. Now, which is the topic which they have added, like other regional AMS CFT regulatory landscapes. So earlier we were only more focused toward the United States or EU, but now they are talking in a 360-degree. They are talking the key economies. They are talking about okay, US and EU, no problem. But what about Australia, Australia, or like Singapore, like MAS, Hong Kong, also like China AML regulations, Japan AML regulation, South Korea AML regulation, UAE, like Federal Decree Law 2018, 19, 2021, 26, 21, 26, 21. So like these federal decree laws and role of the EOCN, so they are talking like for a very grassroots level. What are the regulatory landscape now? So which is a very good for us to get that understanding, because same we will apply when we establish like AML policies. We will connect like what we have studied, we will connect it, then we will apply it. Then like other anti-financial crime regulations that impact, like ABC mean anti-bribery and corruption. So the policy, how needs to be established, how we need to put the controls onto it, like for the anti-bribery and corruption, like the gift registers, like their thresholds of the accepting the gifts or whistleblow, whatever it is, like we'll go through it. And major sanction regimes and other sanction regimes we will go through also. Then obviously like related to the regulations for protection of the data, like data security and privacy, consumer protection, general data protection regulation in detail, how you can secure your sensitive data, and like what are the controls you will apply that your data should not be misused. And then obviously AI regulations and ESG regulations. ESG, I already told you, like environment, social, and governance. And we'll discuss about the sustainability with compliance. So this is a new area, new exposure for the compliance professional we have. So then obviously like use of the guidance and the anti-financial compliance cooperation, like in this, we come little bit more toward the practical compliance, and we will try to explore that how to establish like policies, papers, like an AMS CFT control. So we need to establish good policies, and we need to understand the risk assessments, especially national risk assessment, NRA, sectoral risk assessment, and thematic risk assessment. So what is all about, like when a regulator, they conduct their thematic review. So what they try to find out through this is inspection, how they ensure this thing that there's a proper quality assurance is applied. What are the gaps into the systems? That we'll discuss in detail, but practically. And then obviously, like there are some case studies. Cooperation between the authorities, we will discuss like how these, because these are metrics. Metrics mean all authorities needs to connect each other. If there is a regulator, here is a FIU, there is a law enforcement. So they should, how they connect collectively, they can put their efforts, how they should be connected to each other. It should not be like this, that if regulator is doing something job, so same as FIU is doing, same like law enforcement is doing. It should not be like this. It is like a relay race that which you need to enhance one step ahead from regulators to the FIUs and FIUs to law enforcement. It should be like this. And then this is what we are talking about, the enforcement collaborations and cooperation should also be there. Like one department should cooperate to the other department. So then we are coming to the cooperation involving to the private sector. This is the vision also in our country, like which we say public-private partnership, triple P, public-private partnership. Like these sectors, like two sectors, private sector, public sector, they must have a collaborative effort. This partnership must go on. Then we will discuss like what sort of information needs to be shared through the private channels, how much leverage needs to be given to the public registries, what information needs to be published through the public registries from the company's perspective. If you see right now, if we talk about the UAE, so there are like the international free zones which are putting the information related to the company details, like public registers are there, who are the compliance officer, what is the shareholder percentage is there. So all information is available there. Because transparency, they are bringing transparency into the system. So that we need to think. Then we are coming that it was earlier known that this topic was the AMS CFT compliance program. Now it is known building an AFC, like anti-financial crime compliance program. So the components of AFC program we will discuss. And in this in detail, if we go, so we'll discuss about the AFC program components and obviously like pillars of the AFC compliance program, in which we'll discuss about the first line, second line, and third line of defense. First line is your obviously business functionality line. Second line is the compliance line, and third line is the audit line. So how these are connected to each other, we will discuss in detail. Risk assessment. Nowadays, whenever regulator or authorities, they conduct their examinations, like thematic, full scope, whatever examination they conduct. So one thing which they look forward, like strong risk assessment framework. And in this risk assessment framework, they try to understand what is your risk-based approach, how you are evaluating your enterprise-wide risk assessment, how you are maintaining your risk appetite. So like how you are establishing your risk appetite statements, how you are capturing the inherent risk, then you are applying your control effectiveness, and what is the residual risk, which you can align with your risk appetite statement. So these are the enterprise-wide risk assessment is a very, very, very important topic. And honestly, yes, as an compliance expert, I can suggest you when we gauge any because a lot of people come where we interview them, especially for the jobs perspective. So we gauge the participant that how much he is having the strong knowledge toward the enterprise-wide risk assessment, like how we understand the inherent risk in different categories like customer type, geographic, product, services, delivery channel, counterparty risk, new technologies risk, or other money laundering and terrorist financing risk. And beyond this, like what other risks can also impact your business, can impact your enterprise? What are those risks and how you are gauging them? And then after that, what the algorithm you are applying that you can give me a concrete model. So this is my like qualitative and the quantitatively I have gathered like all this information on the basis of this information. We think like the ranking of this particular like our organization is coming into the medium high low or like whatever category is coming. So then you can say like it is justified with my methodology quantitatively and also qualitatively. Third party like tools to conduct risk assessment. By the way, therefore I am saying you why we are valuable, because we have those tools also which can we give you the interpretation that how this tool works for the EWRA, enterprise-wide risk assessment. Because in the book, you can only study, but you need a demo, like where you can see that, oh, practically it happens like this. So therefore, we are offering like real-time, like live demos to our students that they can understand. So therefore, this course is unique. Then obviously, importance of the continuous risk assessment is also there. Product risk assessment. So customer risk assessment, enterprise-wide risk assessment, and also product risk assessment is also very vital. So you need to maintain that document also. So then like obviously we have discussed already like anti-financial crime program and controls. So program is nothing without the controls. So you need to apply the controls and functionality of the committees, like in which like establishment of the policies, drafting the policies, how the policies will be approved, and like how the regulatory responses or regulatory queries will be responded. So all the mechanism within your anti-financial crime program and controls. So controls, when we talk about implementation of anti-financial crime program and controls, so start from the KYC is the backbone of a firm. KYC, good KYC, if you are conducting good KYC, obviously your firm will be more protected and more safe and secure. Then obviously like screening, like payment screening, due diligence at the time of client screening, batch screening, political exposed person screening, meta searches, adverse media. So there are a lot of exposure into the screening also. And which list you are using, maybe. So that is also important part. You are like using United Nations list, you are using like local terrorist list from EOCN office, or you are using OFAC list, you are using EU list, like what list you are using. Transaction monitoring and investigation. So this domain is very much interesting, like transaction monitoring. Actually, we need to have a love with compliance. Then you will enjoy this, and then you will be more fittest into the industry. So transaction monitoring is same like this. If you want to become a good investigator in your future, you want to enhance your career as an investigator, or maybe as an undercover operator, or maybe some other like law enforcement agency, maybe you work. So you must have a good understanding the transaction monitoring and investigations. Transaction monitoring controls like monitoring versus the payment screening, monitoring versus like how you can tune to fine tuning of your like incorporated parameters into your transaction monitoring system, how you have gauged like the money laundering risk through the transaction monitoring, then terrorist financing risk through the transaction monitoring, proliferation financing risk through the transaction monitoring, then like human trafficking risk because human trafficking risk through the transaction monitoring. Investigations, as I told you, is a very interesting thing, and you need to efficiently communicate with the customers. Like tipping off is not allowed. Tipping off means that sharing any information related to the suspicious transaction with the clients, which is not allowed, strictly prohibited. There's the imprisonment and hefty fine on it. So don't share any information related to the suspicious transaction report with the customers. So then, like obviously concluding, like suspicious transaction report, nowadays, what is happening? I tell you, in the reality, like financial institution, they are doing their transaction. Let's suppose one financial institution, they have done like 100,000 transactions. And in front of it, like they have established only 3 or 4 STR. So nowadays, like the regulator, they always look into it, what is the threshold of the STRs? Maybe, okay, you have not filed any STR, but if it is justified, no problem. But as a like reviewer or as a like when oversight, all these things, so it comes in my mind that they are doing a lot of transactions, but why they have not escalated any STR? So you need to understand that your system is mechanism is good. How you establish the ISTR, how you establish the STR, how you deal with the like non-STRs, how you maintain the records for the STRs. Like one STR, if it is filed for a one customer, so next time when this same customer is coming, so what will be your line of action? You have filed 2 STR of this customer, so now this customer is coming again. What is your next action? So that we will understand into this course. Because I am engaged with this like more than 15 years, like with the same subject. So I know like which are the become more important areas from the CAMS perspective. So therefore we need to understand where the risk becomes more higher. Key points of the course. So working with the law enforcement agencies, so obviously you need to very positively and communicate efficiently with the law enforcement. And one thing I tell to you, all those who are intended to establish their career into the compliance, your communication skills. Your communication should be very clear. What you want to say, what you want to communicate to the regulator, what you communicate to your employees, what you want to communicate to the board or your owners, it should be very clear. I have seen that there are a lot of people, compliance professionals, those who are very good into the compliance, but when they come toward the communication part, they are weak. So therefore, this is the time we need to enhance our skills toward this. Like we need to cage ourselves into a very valuable discussion with a very respectful manner to each other. This is how we improve. Then we will discuss about the like obviously offboarding and de-risking. Let's suppose you are refusing or terminating a customer. So what will be that SOP? De-risking. In which circumstances you will go towards the de-risking? If anything is going beyond your risk appetite, so what the actions you will take? You will transfer the risk, or maybe you de-risk this customer, or you will apply more controls onto it. What is your strategy? So we'll give you the scenarios. So tools and technologies fight to financial crimes. Obviously, like technology is becoming, as I told you, more and more stringent and stronger. So nowadays, like AI tools are there, which can support you into the sanction screening and also into the transaction monitoring, also into the risk and escalation metrics also. So we'll discuss like in more detail, like what are the AI-based tools like which can support you into configuration of AMS GFT compliance. So that we will discuss, and how to maintain the privacy regulation, like especially related to the technology perspective and privacy, how it can be enhanced for the technological perspective also as well. Then technology, as I told you, is supporting compliance a lot. And this technology and tools that use across the customer's life cycle, like geolocations technology, like device intelligence, robotics, also using behavioral and like profile monitoring, in which you can project also what we say behavioral analysis, like which can determine like different patterns of the customer's transactions. And open source intelligence, as I told you, it's not only confined towards the screening list, but also like there are some other, like even if you see meta searches, the Google itself, it have lot of options like Google Scholar, Google Images, and Google Legal. So there are a lot of options in Google also. Same like into the Yahoo also supporting. Bing is also there's different search engines. Then we discuss about maybe some undercover operations, how it can support you. That we will discuss also. So technology for the customer onboarding, eKYC is a very important part in digital perspective. Like authentication, obviously biometrics towards facial and the voice recognition technologies are also there. Liveness of the check technology. So these are the new topics nowadays. And which like obviously in digital compliance, especially if you are working for a digital exchange or PSP, payment service provider. So obviously you should be familiar with the eKYC. And especially for the individual and the corporate customers both. Screening tool also, like there are different combinations comes, and you need to understand the system logics, like list management, the backend list are updated. You need to understand the partial matches, fuzzy logics also as well. So then like technology for ongoing monitoring and investigation. So when we talk about the monitoring, so there should be a mechanism like in which you can must have a very strong screening technology. And obviously, especially in digital currencies, like this technology should be very strong because anonymity is very high into the digital when you are into the any sort of like a digital exchange platform or the PSP platform. So obviously, risk becomes more higher. Rule-based transaction monitoring. So this is, I make you clear that in our system, what we do, like we need to incorporate some rules related to maybe thresholds are there for the high risk countries, high risk customers, or maybe any risk which is coming towards the money laundering. So we have put some thresholds. So whenever this threshold will cross, so then alert will be generated, and alert will come to the compliance officer for the further investigation. So therefore, you need to tunify your rules like time to time. You need to see like which rules you have incorporated 1 year before and how many rules were active in that. And like how the weightage in the numerically you have given to the rule. Let's suppose I say one person is sending to the multiple persons. So this is a one rule I have induced into my system. So what the weight score I have given to this particular rule? Because nowadays, like regulatory authorities are also expecting that you need to segregate the transaction monitoring thresholds, which rules are more highly intensive, mostly like moderate level, low level rules into your systems. So ATL, BTL, when we talk about, so above the threshold or below the threshold when talk about, so that you need to determine in your typology assessment of the transaction monitoring. Therefore, I'm taking too much time for this topic. So transaction monitoring, like sufficient scenario coverages, and obviously testing. Testing is required. So keep testing your rules that your parameters are properly working or not. And yes, obviously AI, like ongoing testing and tuning for AI tools also should be there. AI functionality, especially to detect unusual patterns through your transaction monitoring system. So therefore, AI is having a very important role into this transaction monitoring. Then obviously like technology to assist investigations and technology to assist case management and blockchain tracing, like technology for reporting. So data collection, as I told you, how you need to secure the data, how you need to identify the data for new transaction monitoring systems, and data as an input for the solution, like coverage the gap with the like a gap assessment to clean the data. So how you are maintaining your data and how you are using that data in a valuable information from which you can produce a very valuable analysis. Yes, that's it. So this was like little bit idea, like which is into the new CAMS edition. So what we need to do now? For this CAMS course, we have like into the anti-financial crime perspective, we have a lot of question bank. And these question banks which we have prepared is very parallel to your topics. So when you will go into the exam, you need to practice at least like 350 to 400 questions. We are never saying like this to you that you should do the 1000 question or 2000 question. You need to do the quality questions. Quality question means that you have the complete understanding of the subject. And what will be our way forward? Like we are offering the classes for this CAMS course. And in this CAMS course, so like mostly 8 classes we conduct or every Saturday, and which Sheetal will tell you later on. So you need to join us, and I will request to everyone that you should attend all classes. And you should attend our all classes. And in these classes, like you should not, you should like very eagerly you need to participate into it. You should not miss any class because these classes are important. And this is we promise you that when you will pass this exam, so there are a lot of opportunities into the industry. You will get it because why the capability which we are producing is like remarkable. Therefore, we make you more strong into the compliance perspective. Like our trainers are very strong trainers we have. So you should sit with them, try to understand the subject more. And accordingly, you should start your journey with our Hayford Integrated Training Institute. And obviously, like our course, like CPD, UK certified, and obviously, like right now, if I tell you, like we are conducting this course with the international and also like locally with top class firms, we are giving this course right now, especially into the banking and exchange house, real estates, and also into the insurance sector, gold sector. So we are conducting this course into our corporate clients. So meanwhile, like for the individuals also, like we are entertaining, we have like complete infrastructure where we will provide like complete materials, like the classes, like recordings of the classes, and also like mock test. After every topic, we conduct a mock test, and in which we gauge like this student is going into the right direction now. So what we require? We require from your perspective that at least 35 hours at your end also needs to be completed of the study with us. Our 32 is separate, but 35 you complete also. It means that 2 hours, like day or 2.5 hours, you should study, and then accordingly, like you need expert also where you can engage into the discussions, like because you need a financial crime expert, like who can guide you because you are now new growing talent. So you need to take that guideline. So 8 sessions are there, and every Saturday it starts. We have 2 sessions every day. Like one is from morning, and then is second is into the afternoon. Online is also available. Hybrid is also available. Face to face, it's also available. So this is like this. And later, like pricing, like Sheetal will tell the pricing point and how you can start your journey. By the way, my friends, in this, we were not having the question and answer sessions because time was very limited. Even I am like little bit beyond the time because the topics were little bit more extensive. I tried to cover it, but give the idea to all of you. Hopefully you have enjoyed this thing. And now I will say, Sheetal, like to finally wrap it up and conclude it.
Sure. Thank you so much, Mr. Rizwan. I'm sure it was so interesting that we missed the clock. But we have a lot of participants still with us together, and I would like to ask the participants, how did you like the uh, introduction to CAMS, what we do at Hayford? Would you like, we have very exciting offer for all the participants today. And I would like to say that it is only valid for the participants who have joined, and it is valid till next Wednesday only, that is August 13th. So, would love to read your comments. How did you like? Any feedback? And we look forward to seeing you in our next sessions led by Rizwan and others. So as you are seeing on the screen that we have classes on every Saturday, so you do not miss your sessions, any sessions. And our AML course is globally recognized qualification. It is CPD UK certified. Access to, you have get all the access to the materials, to all the sessions. Even if you have missed, you get the recorded sessions. There are also practical sessions, and there are huge network, huge pool of students, and the trainers are expert in themselves. So you can connect, you can network, you can get industry insights, and you can use the real life experience and share with each other. So, are you excited? I'll just show you what the this is the original price. This is 2800, but we have a very good price for you, and that is 2499 only. And I'm sure you would grab this opportunity, and we would love to connect with you again for the session and otherwise as well. So we are always available. You can contact us. This is our WhatsApp number. You can contact us anytime. We are always there to help you. And as Rizwan mentioned, that we want to create leaders. We don't want to only do the checkbox exercise out of compliance, but we want leaders, and that is how we need to take this opportunity to grab as much knowledge as we can from industry experts who have been on this field, just like Mr. Rizwan and many others in our Hayford Institute. So you can write to us. This is our email ID, our website, and our WhatsApp. We are always available for you and for the students community, the learners, to exchange insights. Whatever feedback you have, you can post it over the chat. We would be happy to answer you and connect with you separately as well. So we look forward uh, to you seeing you again. We had massive group of participants today. We are very happy with that. We have participants from all over the world, and yeah, I would again mention this offer is only valid till August 13th. That is next Wednesday. So be the first one to grab the opportunity.
Yeah, and Sheetal, I will say that we should also thanks to the those of our participants, especially those who joined from Afghanistan, India, and like
There
Sri
was
Lanka,
Nigeria,
Bangladesh. Yeah.
Afghanistan.
So, like, we should thank them because, like, honestly, personally, I would like to thank Afghanistan, like, because the people are joining from there, especially like Hamid Yawar and like the other people. So, thank you very much from, and obviously from our Indian brothers also. So, we need to thank them also. So, meanwhile, as Sheetal said, that those who are interested, so please contact us on to the same address and the email which Sheetal has shared with you. And like any sort of query, you can connect. And one question which is being asked to us, like related to the sharing of the webinar. So I would request, like later on with the Sheetal and Karen, they can take care of this thing that to share the webinar with you, this webinar. And like I like personally thankful those who are saying that this is a superb webinar. So I'm personally thankful to all of you. Thank you, Sheetal. So nice of you. I think like you can read two messages are there.
Yeah,
If
I'm reading that we have people from Tanzania.
yeah, and
There
so
are
Tanzania, like Joseph is there and Rafa is also there. So eligibility criteria to pursue this course is simple. You must have a graduation, that's it. And the CPD hours for the maintain the to like enroll into the camps we will provide you. That you can submit with along with your application form. So then you can go into the examination. So therefore, examination is a very competitive and very much well-demanded certificate in the world. This is the most well-demanded certificate in the world. So I will say, like everyone, make your careers. Industry is right now open for everyone. So join this. So thank you very much to all of you and stay blessed. So yes, Chetan, thank you very much to you also.
thank you, Mr.
Wonderful
Rizwan.
effort. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay.
Thank you, all the participants. We look forward to welcoming you for the course. Thank you so much.